Oh my gosh, you're so extra!
Bruh.
Hi, welcome to Align with Aretha. So today's episode is built around a moment that sparked the entire creation of this channel. It was a choice, and a really, really simple one. I wore this hat, yes, just this hat. Let's jump into a poem I wrote that night, and we'll talk about it on the other side. I wore a hat today. Nothing too fancy, nothing too wild. Just this little black number, balanced like quiet power on my head. But oh, how the room inhaled, like the weight of my presence pressed against their chests. Like my hat was the loudest thing in the room. I wore a hat today, and I wore my heels too. Click clack, click clack. Each step a gentle reminder that I wasn't playing by anyone's rules. I walked on by and watched those who looked at me and froze, like I had done some unspeakable thing, too bold to behold. And then I heard the words, wrapped in humor, dipped in slight shade. Oh my gosh, you're so extra! I paused too, almost in a daze. They laughed, and I laughed too, in my mind, that is. See, I wore a hat today, and I became a mirror they weren't ready to look into. Not because I asked to be, not because I demanded attention, but because I exist in a way they've told themselves they cannot. And that's the real problem. I wore a hat today, and the silence said more than the words. It turned faces, forced small talk. How dare she love herself more than me? How dare she walk in unbothered? How dare she be tall in heels and presence and spirit and not apologize for it? But see, I wore a hat today, and I'll wear one again, because I refuse to shrink. I refuse to dim. I wore a hat today, and tomorrow I just might wear two, because I can only be me. I never want to be you. Let's talk about it. You know, in that moment, I wasn't trying to make a statement. I was just wearing whatever felt good. Some people changed. I just threw on a hat, that's all. Two things really stood out to me. And the first being, even before I walked in, someone was like I said in the poem, oh my gosh, you're so extra. And if you've ever been told that multiple times, where you're just literally just living and existing in your own bubble, you know the feeling. Moments like those, you just kind of have to smile and take a deep breath, let it slide. Or some call it petty or catty, or be like, okay, maybe you should try it sometime. But you know that every time you hear that rhetoric, you get a little bit annoyed. At least I did. The second moment happened when I just walked in. Well, after I walked in. And you know when you could just feel something shift? When it's not loud, but the energy is just quietly loaded? Yeah. When I got home, I started internalizing, and I realized that it's never about my outfits. It's about permission, and how many of us are really taught to ask for it, even when it comes to just being yourself. You see, sometimes it's not the hat, It's what the hat represents. And moments like that remind us how easy it is for the world to make us second guess ourselves. How we should shrink, how we edit, how we essentially mute parts of who we are just to avoid being labeled as too much. In the past, I've had to ask myself that same questions more times than I would like to admit. Am I doing too much? Should I tone it down next time? Funny enough, I attended an event over the weekend. It's the second year I've attended in a row. And last year I found myself having that internal self-talk based on what I wore. And I didn't realize that it was still on my mind, because this year when I was getting ready to pick an outfit, it came back up and I kept saying, okay, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do the opposite, but still stay true to myself. For me, living in alignment means choosing yourself anyway, every day. It's not about being confident for show or being rebellious for the sake of being different. To me, it's really about making the decision to be consistent with who you are, even when it's not convenient for others. So yeah, you wear the thing, you speak the thought, you show up not to please, not to impress, but just to be your whole self. And I like saying your whole self because it really means all of you, every intricate part that makes you you. So here's what I want to ask you. When was the last time you felt yourself shrinking? Shrinking to make someone else feel comfortable? What would it look like if you stopped editing yourself in rooms you were never meant to blend into? Most importantly, what's your version of the hat? Because for me, it's always just an accessory. For you, it might be your voice. It might be your joy. Whatever it is, don't apologize for it. I want you to remember, it's not extra, it's alignment. And I hope you keep choosing it. Catch you in the next one.
Do what you need to do.